So, warm greetings to all of you. And as as part of this wonderful community of ours of 7 a.m. meditators, and the one who does the most speaking, maybe I can represent all of you um, and offer that welcome in behalf of all of you. So we're all welcoming each other and have a sense of being included by the whole community. So thank you for being here. And I want to start with an analogy. Say that you're going to go do some exercise, maybe go to the gym, and you really enjoy exercising. You need to exercise. There's a physical kind of thing you're trying to heal from or something. And so you're determined and motivated and everything's good. You go there, and as you're going into the gym, you're thinking about, it's just you see other people working out, and this is good to work out, and it's certain vitality and engagement. This is really a healthy thing for people, and you think about a friend of yours who really needs to work out, maybe for many reasons. And so you start thinking about your friend, you care about your friend, you have compassion for your friend, and you want to help your friend. And so you walk by a little lobby part of the gym, and there's some magazines. And maybe there's a magazine, big headlines, working out and health or something, just like what you're concerned for your friend. So you pick up the magazine, and you go sit on maybe in a little couch on the back wall of the gym. You hear people working out. And for the hour you had to work out, you read this magazine, another magazine, and all caring for, to think about your friend. And then your hour is up, and then you realize, wait a minute, I didn't exercise at all. I spent the whole time, thinking about my friend. I could have worked out. I need to work out. And I could have done the reading the magazine or looked into it later. In fact, I didn't really learn that much by looking at these magazines. So I give this analogy for coming to meditate. We're here to meditate, kind of a mental working out, if you may. If you start thinking, have compassionate thoughts for people who are challenged, and you start thinking about how to help them and do things for them, and you spend the whole meditation in this kind of planning mind, discursive mind, thinking about them. In a sense, maybe for that meditation session, you're not meditating at all. You're not doing it for the practice. You're thinking about a friend. In the context of meditation, of course you might think about a friend who's suffering, and of course you might think about how to help them or do something for them. But in the context of meditation, the most significant way to respond to the suffering of the world that we experience and feel is actually not to use meditation as a time to plan and think about what to do. Rather, if to really prepare ourselves for doing and acting later, the powerful thing is to act in a certain way. And that is to go back, recognize what's happening to you, recognize concerns, recognize the feelings that are there, recognize the impulse, the aspiration to help. These are all good. And then fold it all back in to your workout, to your practice. And these steps we've been doing this week around compassion are a great series of steps to do, to fold it back into your practice. Come back and just rest in awareness, being aware of how you're feeling. Be aware of the sensations in the body, of the compassion, the care, the concern you have for your friend, and what it feels like in your body to have a desire to do something. Just be aware of what's happening for you. As you're aware, become attuned to yourself. Find harmony with yourself. And to go headlong into planning and thinking about the friend is actually a way of losing touch with oneself. Meditation is a way of being profoundly in touch with oneself here, and to be attuned to this person. And if you're suffering, attuned to your suffering. If you're not suffering, being attuned to the sensations and feeling and what's happening. Appreciate yourself. Appreciate what's happening. Respect it deeply. But don't give into it. Don't fall into it. Don't spin out with it. And then here have an aspiration. Maybe the aspiration is, in fact, to care for the suffering of oneself and for others. And then in meditation, then you can do it again and again. And so you're actually building, by this repeated cycles, you're actually building the kind of foundation that allows compassion to grow, that sets the ground for cleaner and greater, simpler, straightforward compassion to be there for later. If you go headlong into, I need to fix the problem, I need to help the problem, I need to do something, and start planning it, at times that's useful, but not when you're working out in the gym. Then you want to sit deeply and come back, do the cycle again and again to purify, to clarify, to simplify how it is for you, so that we're freeing ourselves from the distractions of discursive thinking about it. We're freeing ourselves from looking at the magazines rather than doing the exercise. And by doing the exercise, something strengthens inside of us. Then later will give birth to a greater capacity for compassion and greater capacity for how to act. So to assume your meditation posture, and gently close your eyes, and to without anything else, begin your meditation. And if the occasion is right for it, go through the first 4 A's of the 5 A's of this week. Cultivate awareness, attunement, appreciation, aspiration. And maybe in meditation the aspiration is to be present, be here. The aspiration is to keep cultivating greater awareness of the present moment, greater attunement to the present moment, greater appreciation of the present moment, and letting the aspiration to do so be simpler, clearer, more harmonious, more supportive of going through this process again. If you're thinking, if you're reading the magazine, begin the cycle of aware, attuned, appreciative, and aspiring to be here and present, not lost in thought. And if while meditating you have any suffering, stress, tension about something, offer yourself these 5 steps. Be aware in a deep way. Attune yourself in a useful way. Appreciate yourself and in a supportive way. Have the wish, the aspiration that you be free of the suffering. And then act. And the act we do in meditation is to do the first 4 again. Go through the cycle. Just keep deepening with it, expanding it, quieting the mind. And as we come to the end of this meditation, to appreciate that meditation is a time to be inward focused to our own experience here and now. And to maybe do it so deeply, so fully, that we are turned inside out, so that there's a deeper sensitivity and availability to the world. And to let now the attention go out into the world, aware of the joys and sorrows that are so extensive in the world. To be attuned to a certain kind of harmony of heart with all the joys and sorrows. To never forget to appreciate and respect all people in the world. And to allow the heart's aspiration to bubble up, the heart's aspiration to care for suffering wherever it's encountered. And when we encounter it in the world around us, to aspire that that suffering comes to an end. And then action. May each of us aspire to do at least small actions to make this day a better day for others. May each of us alleviate, lighten the suffering of others through even the smallest acts, smiles, checking in, how are you? Offering a small gift. Being aware, attuned, and appreciative of others. That itself is a gift that alleviates suffering. It doesn't have to be more complicated. And if nothing else is relevant, your act to support the world is to go back to being aware, attuned, and appreciative. The benefits of doing so will spread out into the world. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings everywhere be free. Thank you. So then today we come to the fifth element of compassion, action. And it's actually very important that we act. There's something empowering, something freeing, something uh, enlivening in actually acting rather than just have wishful thinking, rather than living under the weight and burden, rather than just feeling the challenges and the suffering of the world. And even small acts count for our hearts. Small acts, who knows how much they'll benefit others. Sometimes small acts of kindness, of compassion, have the biggest impact. And but always it's important to act. But we have to be very careful what that means and how we take that in. If we live under the obligation that we have to go and help someone else, then it's very easy to add stress, tension to that very effort, and to bring along and kind of imbue it with something which is actually maybe not beneficial for yourself and others. One form of action is, in fact, to keep purifying oneself, to really clarify and develop oneself. And so there are times when we feel the suffering of the world, and maybe we can't do anything. There's so much suffering if you read the news, and we're not going to reach out to all of it. But we can still be moved by it. We can still do the first four of these elements of compassion. And as we move into action, it's not necessarily to do things directly for the people who are suffering, but sometimes it's just simply to go through that cycle of awareness, appreciation, awareness, attunement, appreciation, and aspiration again. It's kind of like a cleansing. It's kind of like a refining. It's a smoothing out. It's a growing of the clarity of that compassion, the fullness of that compassion and care. So it becomes stronger, and it becomes less and less mixed with tension, with suffering. Many times compassion, when there's a quick impulse to be compassionate, we don't realize how much we bring along our conceit, our ideas of self, of others, of pity, of tension, of obligation, that kind of messes it up in some way. There is something like a natural compassion that can well up. I feel very fortunate because my discovery of really the beauty and the wonder of compassion was it found me through this repeated meditation practice I did. And just by meditating day and day and day for years, it welled up. It's like I made space. The hindrances for compassion settled. And there, lo and behold, there was this beautiful feeling of compassion and care and love that was there. It first was there without a need to do anything or a specific direction that had to be addressed. It was just there. And I got to appreciate the beauty of compassion. So one of the reasons to be recursive, to go back, the action is to go back and go through this cycle of mindfulness again, maybe when you're meditating, is so you can start discovering the natural compassion that really is quite beautiful. And sometimes the action of compassion, the aspiration for suffering to end for someone, leads us to say, well, I can do something. It's not just wishful thinking. It's a wish that, yes, I can do something for them. I can do something for the world. And then, but to do it on this foundation of the first four elements, hopefully means that there can be a beauty, there can be an attunement, there can be a naturalness in the action that we do. And so it isn't a sense of heavy responsibility. It isn't a sense of like bearing down. I got to do something, and maybe do something because I'm angry and I have to fix something in the world. Yes, I have compassion, but I'm angry and I'm going to go do something. Um, the natural compassion that can well up when we're really centered on ourselves, really have this autonomous awareness, this deep attunement, this agency that goes into kind of clarifying it all, that there's a beauty to it and a pleasure to it. It's a kind of source of happiness that is not happiness that is something we're intending to be happy, because it's not about us, but it's something because of the purity, the clarity, the simplicity, the absence of um, of dust, the absence of tension, the absence that it's doing. Then when we get ready to act, there's a simplicity to it, a naturalness to it, a beauty to it, and a kind of pleasure, something that feels good. And I was so surprised when I started discovering how good it felt just to have these very simple acts of care and attention and compassion for other people. And first I thought, is this okay? Are we allowed to do this? Because it felt so good, and am I doing it now for selfish reasons? But I found very quickly that as soon as I tried to do it for myself, that messed it up. But there had to be kind of an absence of self in the action, in the care, and there was something deeper than this self-concern, self-preoccupation that was motivating the whole thing. So, and then if it comes this natural compassion, this natural action, then it's one that's attuned to oneself, attuned to the situation. And even if what it is sending a check for a good cause, that there's a kind of a delight, a joy in to be able to do it, a kind of a deep satisfaction, a kind of pleasure, happiness that to just be able to do that. It isn't like, oh, I should do more or something. It's just, oh yes, this is good. If a friend is suffering, and all what seems right is just go over and sit near them. You don't have to get more involved. Sit near them and see what happens. Maybe it's near them, might be 10 feet away, and sit there and be available and see what happens. And there are people sometimes who find it so meaningful as they suffer that they were accompanied from a distance. Someone was there with them, or maybe you sit closer. Maybe you don't say much, and because just sharing the space is enough with them. Maybe it's getting someone a glass of water. You see they're distressed, and can I bring you some water? Can I, are you hungry? There's so many small ways in which compassion can take form. I know this is not necessarily, so small, but I had this wonderful experience with my son when he was small. Maybe he was 5 years old or something. I was going out to a Mexican restaurant to get a burrito or something with him. And there was a homeless person in front of the restaurant asking for money for some food. And so I said, well, come with us, and I'll buy you something. And so he came in, and he just ordered the simplest thing, like a simple burrito. And I said, you don't want more? And he said, no, this is enough. And I thought, I thought maybe this was his chance to. Anyway, so he offered to eat with us, but he said no, and he left. And I didn't think too much about it until I left the restaurant, and he was waiting outside for us, and he had no paper. But he had found a brown garbage, a shopping bag, and he was a poet. And he said, I wrote a poem, and I want to read it to you in thanks. And he read this beautiful poem to us. He didn't give us the poem, but he read this beautiful poem, and that was his thanks. And I said, wow, who gave who a gift here? It was, pretty simple for me to pay for his burrito. But wow, what a beautiful thing to take the time to write something, and so nice. So, what can we do? How do we do it in a natural way? And how do we act so the action that we do benefits ourselves? If it's only about benefiting someone else, it's too easy for it to get messed up. And if it's only about ourselves, it certainly will be messed up. But there's a way of caring for both, to be attuned to both. And being attuned to oneself is not be attuned to our concept of self, our alter ego or something. To be attuned to self is to be attuned to the motivations and the sensations and our suffering and our joys and our pleasure, attuned to where the beauty is here, the selfless beauty, so that when we act, that's what flowers in us, not our selfishness. So compassion is a profound and wonderfully natural aspect of the human heart. It's kind of a birthright. It's kind of who, in some ways, at some point you realize, oh, this is, it becomes a point where you feel, this is who I am. This is what I want to orient my life with, because it feels so integral and so right. It's not a duty. It's not an obligation. It's an expression of some of the deepest understandings, deepest ways of being centered here in a selfless way. And to be able to come into the world to express this deep, deep, beautiful, inspiring part of our hearts is one of the greatest things to do in this life. And until we really discover that and can live that, don't underestimate that one of the greatest actions you can do is this practice of mindfulness and awareness. Really cultivate awareness, attunement, appreciation, aspiration. These four things are part of the profundity of who we are. And to practice them and go through them and deepen and just clarify. And then when the time comes for action, you'll know when the time is. Sometimes the action occurs when nothing else makes sense. And so may we all be agents of change, to change the world, to make it a better place. I teach the Dharma to help individuals, to support individuals, and my aspiration is that, and my trust is that as we individually blossom in the Dharma, that we benefit this world. I would like this Dharma to really flower and benefit the whole world. And so this process of clarifying our compassion is, is one of the profound ways that we become agents of peace, agents of joy and support and compassion. So thank you all very much for this. And next week I'll be on retreat at the retreat center, an Insight Retreat Center in Santa Cruz. And very happy that Nikki Murgafori will be coming back, one of the great teachers here at IMC, and you'll be in good hands with her. And I'll be back in the following week. And I was thinking that probably I would like to continue this theme of compassion. And there's much more that's invaluable about it. So probably I'll do that when we come back. So thank you very much, and look forward to being here in the week after next.